So
Okay. There we go.
I'm going to record and you should be able to.
Fantastic. Martha, do you want to share with us all the great resources that the library has for job seekers?
I do, and I'm going to try to share my screen.
Okay.
Oh,
And
nope, I'm not going to try to share my screen.
okay, you should be able to now. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Okay. Okay, so hopefully you all are seeing a nice picture of Minneapolis Central Library.
Yep.
Okay, so the slide's coming through. Awesome. My name is Martha Hardy, and I'm a librarian at Minneapolis Central Library, which is part of Hennepin County Library. And Alan was kind enough to invite me here to talk about researching employers when you're doing your job search. So I'm going to talk about some library resources, also talk about some non-library resources, and of course I'm going to talk about the library because that's what I do. So I will get started here. So again, I'm from Hennepin County Library, and we have 41 branches in Hennepin County. We're a big system. We hope you have a library card. The library card is your key to accessing all kinds of library services and programs. And of course, you can check out books too. So if you have a library card in a different public library system that is not Hennepin, then you can call or come in and register that card with us, and then you can use our stuff too, which is great because you can use some of the digital resources from afar. So just some of the things about our system, like I said, you can check things out. We have free public computers, which are really popular with job searchers. You get $5 of free printing, which is 50 black and white pages. We have scanners, we have photocopiers, we have fax machines, we have Wi-Fi indoors and outdoors. We have video conference rooms, which sound maybe fancier than they are. At 4 locations, 4 buildings, we have a computer in a room with a door with a mic and a camera, because none of our regular library computers have cameras or have mics. So this is a way that people can participate in Zoom meetings such as this one if they don't own a smartphone, if they don't own a computer, don't have Wi-Fi, and they need to go to a court hearing, online class, doctor visit, job interview, whatever. It's a way for them to do that. And then all the buildings have meeting and study rooms. Those are free for you to use for non-commercial purposes. And our building downtown Minneapolis has loads of rooms. Some of the smaller branches only have 1, but every location has some kind of meeting space you can use for free. And we've got programming for all ages. For people just learning to use the computer for the first time, we have drop-in computer labs and classes. I run on Wednesday afternoon on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of each month, something called Work Wednesday, where I bring in 5, 6, 7 community organizations that all work with job seekers and just give them a chance to connect with people in our building, let them know about their free job training programs and all the other support that they give to job seekers. So we do have one tomorrow from 1 to 3, downtown Minneapolis, and we're going to have about 5 or 6 organizations here. And then on Thursday afternoon, we have a job counselor from Goodwill Easter Seals who comes every week. So that's another thing at 2 to 4:30. Okay, digital resources, and this is largely why I'm here. We have tons of them, and they've become even more popular during the pandemic and after the pandemic. Ebooks, super popular. Online dictionaries, encyclopedias, newspaper subscriptions, magazine subscriptions, scholarly journals, research databases. We are going to talk about some of those in more detail. Digitized collections from our archives and our special collections. So plot map for your house in Minneapolis, yearbook picture from high school in 1982, historic photos of the Twin Cities. All of that can be found on our website through the digitized collections. You can learn a language. You can listen to local music through Minspin. You can watch videos or TV shows. It's a selection of videos and TV shows through Canopy, but it's our first streaming video product. And LinkedIn Learning. Now, I'm really hoping that some of you know about LinkedIn Learning. It used to be called Lynda. Some people may have gotten access through their workplace, or you might have had an individual subscription. LinkedIn bought out Lynda, and the library has a subscription that you get to use for free. So tutorials for most basic computer skills to super advanced computer skills, all kinds of business skills, how to do a job search, all of this stuff is in LinkedIn Learning. And if your card is registered with us and you have your password that you set up with us, you can access LinkedIn Learning too. So, okay, but really why I'm here, not just to promote the library, is to talk about researching potential employers. So nobody really loves job searching. At least I don't love job searching. And it might seem like just another set of tasks that somebody's asking you to do on top of everything else. But I really, truly believe that this is important and it's worth doing. And here are some of the reasons why. Obviously, identifying companies you might want to apply with that are in your field. Writing a really smart, focused, targeted cover letter and resume is powerful, and you can't do that unless you're a little bit informed. Finding employers who are a good match for your skills or your aspirations or your values. You know, what's important to you? What kind of place do you want to work in? That's important. What are the growth industries in the state of Minnesota? That's a good thing to know in terms of your job prospects. Developing a professional network, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but there is nothing like having a personal conversation with someone to really help you know what the scoop is with a potential employer. And you definitely want to be prepared for your job interview. So those are all some reasons why you might do this. And some things that you might want to find out. Why is this company unique? Do they have a signature product? What are their brands? Do they see themselves in a certain way? Like, do they see themselves as good environmental stewards, or they prioritize hiring veterans, or they support education? Like, you know, what are they about? What is the organizational culture like? That's important. And what some of the competitors are. Just a few things you might want to find out. Okay. This is not a library resource, but I have been in search committees where the candidate comes to the interview and has not looked at the website, and it's not a good look. It's a really bad look, because if the candidate asks really basic, uninformed questions that are covered in the About Us section on the website, which you should have read, then you look disengaged and not interested and not really committed to working with that company. So don't let that be you. Most companies have a website. Even small businesses, if they don't have that, hopefully they have social media. We want to take a really close look at their mission, vision, values. Maybe they call it a company purpose. Maybe they call it company principles. Because again, you want to know what they're about. And I often in my cover letters have referenced in some way the mission statement of the organization, to let them know that I care about some of the same things that they care about. You might find an annual report, history of the company, obviously jobs you can apply for. But if you do one thing, I personally think spending time with the company website is the one thing you should do. So that's my opinion. as not a job counselor, but as a librarian. Social media, you know, there's a lot of questionable content on social media, but companies will put out there on social media what they want you to know about them and how they want you to think about them. LinkedIn is super obvious, right? Because it exists for the purpose of professional networking. But you know, you can look at Facebook or Instagram or the company's YouTube channel or TikTok. Now I'm super old, so I'm not really a TikTok watcher, but I looked at it yesterday and I looked at Target, and you know, they're doing these like cute little funny videos where they just a few seconds where they introduce a product just to catch your attention. So if you can find the official company site on TikTok, you might learn some interesting things about that. So it's worth spending some time with that. All right, now we're going to go to library land. So Alan likes that. So Reference Solutions is one of our major business databases that we have in Hennepin County. Used to be called Reference USA, if you remember that name. They've rebranded a little bit, and it's like a huge phone book. Again, showing my age. So there are residential addresses and phone numbers in there, but there's also like the yellow pages part, which is the company information. And that's probably what you're interested in. You can find all the contact information for a company, maybe their financials, maybe other data about them. One of the things, when it's there, it's very interesting to see. They'll have a list of executives and their contact information. That's not in there for all companies. And I definitely would cross-check that against the company's website if you can, just to make sure it's up to date. But that is something we often use with people who call into the library, that they're looking to find out who the executives are at a certain company. The powerful thing about Reference Solutions, in my opinion, is your ability to focus your search. So you can define a very small geographic area or a large geographic area. So maybe your zip code, your city, your county, your state, a set of zip codes, like whatever you want to focus on. You can filter by the size of the company, by number of employees or square footage. You can look at size from the aspect of what their annual earnings are. You can look for companies that are owned by maybe a veteran or a woman or a person of color, if that's important to you. And the NAICS code or the SIC code, there's two different systems. NAICS is the one that I use the most. It's from the census. And it's a way to try to classify what industry a company is in. And so if you can find a good NAICS code for the industry you really want to be in, it's a great way to identify companies in that field in our area that maybe you don't know about. So you might dig up something that's new to you. So that's all some of what you can do in Reference Solutions. Gale Business Insights, personal favorite, really love it. Used to be called Business Insights Essentials. Now, the catch here is your company has to be big enough to be in the database. Like if it's like tiny business down the street, probably not in there. If it's Ecolab, it's in there, or Target or Honeywell or whatever. The beauty of this is once you find the page in Business Insights for your company, everything is there. A company profile, financials, a list of competitors in the industry, profiles of the industry, SWOTs, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. If you're familiar with that, SWOT already done for you. You don't have to do it. It's there. News articles, articles from trade publications, articles from encyclopedias, just loads and loads of stuff, all like on this one page, nicely organized for you. It's kind of one-stop shopping. So I really like to promote it. I think it's kind of underused. And then some other business databases that we have. I'm not going to go into detail about all of these, but Net Advantage and Merchant Intellect, our business databases are used a lot by like investors, but they have plenty of good information in there. They have company profiles, industry profiles, all that kind of stuff. Business Market Research Collection is a really boring name, but it includes Hoover's, which you might have heard of from olden times when it was, you know, print. Also, the First Research Industry Profiles are useful too. And then I know Alan's going to like this one. It's the Yale Directory Library. So this is a set of books that have been digitized. They used to be old school, gigantic, big reference books that you would go to the library to use. And now we get, if we get them digitally. Some of them don't exist anymore. But for example, like the directory of professional associations, trade associations is in there. So it's a good idea if you're interested in a certain industry to know who the trade associations are, to be able to look at their website, network with them. Maybe you want to join. So you can do that. You can look it up. If you can't find the website, you can look it up in our directory library. Okay. Also, if you're doing an interview and there's a major news story about the company you're interviewing with and you don't know about it before you go in, that's maybe not good. So I really do recommend that people look around in newspapers, magazines, the web, see what is out there. It's not that you're necessarily going to bring it up in your interview, but again, you want that context so that when you talk to the hiring committee, that you are, you know, asking informed and intelligent questions. So a couple of the databases for that: Business Source Premier is newspapers, magazines, trade journals, and scholarly journal articles. Also some SWOTs are in there. So that's a really, I think that probably most of the state has access to Business Source Premier. ABI Inform, again, newspapers, magazines, lots of news stories. Those are two places you can look. Star Tribune, Pioneer Press, we have those. And depending on the year, it might be digital, it might be paper, it might be microfilm or microfiche. If you go way back, but we do have those. It's a good idea to look there. And I want to mention in particular this Minnesota newspapers database, because if you are not interested in Minneapolis or St. Paul, and you're in a smaller city or a town elsewhere in Minnesota, these are the community newspapers for those other smaller places. And there's a ton of them in here. And I think it's a really valuable resource that most people don't know about. So there you go. Local newspapers in the Minnesota newspapers database. Okay. This picture is my stock photo that I found to represent your professional network. So I think the second most important thing you can do when you're researching a company is talk to people. I know it's not in some of our nature. Some of us are introverted, but there is nothing like having a conversation with someone who actually knows what the real scoop is. And I guarantee you that you know someone who knows someone who knows someone else who works for that company or has worked for that company or is in the industry and can talk about the company. And it is well worth buying that person a cup of coffee and sitting down for an hour and doing an informational interview with them. You're not really hitting them up for a job necessarily, really. You're asking questions because you want to learn about the company and learn about the profession. But sometimes those connections can lead to job leads. You know, the person will be like, oh, you know, actually, it sounds like you might be a good fit for this department and they're hiring and you should look for this position, you know, like that kind of thing is super valuable as well. In the last 20 years, I, introvert, have always done an informational interview with people from places I was seriously considering that I had an interview with. And I am really glad I've done that. It is how you will know that you want to work for the company. It's not all about them wanting to work with you. You have to work with them and know what you're getting into. And there's nothing like actually talking to people. So that's my little public service announcement about professional networking. I'm going to guess that you all talk about that in this group anyway, but I feel really strongly about it. All right. I don't know how much time we're going to have for questions, but I wanted to leave you with just some more information. So you need help with library information. That's what we do. So Hennepin County Library, you can come see us. You can go to our website. You can call us. You can email. You can text message. You can chat. Like there's all these ways that you can interface with us. You might see us out in the community. And your public library system, if you're outside Hennepin County, does all this as well. And, you know, my job is to empower people to do what they want to do with information. That's my job. So if it's finding a book for their 3-year-old, if it is preparing for a job interview, if it is finding, you know, healthcare, like whatever it is, that's our job. So we like these questions a lot. So you should ask us. Also, big plug for Career Force. There are a lot of great organizations out there supporting job seekers. If you're going to remember one, I'm going to guess again that you've probably talked about Career Force, but you know, they're great. They're all over the state. They have tons of locations. They have some people, some staff who specialize in working with veterans, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hi. Well, here's my advertisement for you.
Thank you.
They have the sometimes computer labs. You can come in and do your resume. They'll help you with your resume. They will do a practice interview with you. At least the Minneapolis ones will. They teach workshops. They have workshops on YouTube online that you can go watch if you can't go to the live one. And they're just super nice people. So I'm always talking about Career Force. They're the actual real job counselors, not me. Okay, now I don't know, given the you know, how the schedule has changed today, how much time we would have for questions, but I am more than happy to entertain questions.
Well, let's